And that's the illusion that in order to change something about ourselves, we have to do something big. Right? We don't. In fact, you don't realize that. Let me say this differently. Let me go about this through a different door. We are very accustomed to thinking that we have only 5 senses, and that which exists that we cannot see is therefore not real. And from our 5 senses, we've developed a scale of what's powerful and what's not. And we've decided that the bigger something is, the more powerful it is. The smaller it is, it has no power whatsoever. And if it's subtle, throw it out. That doesn't count at all. So when you say to somebody, oh yeah, well the most powerful thing you can do is something small that you can hardly see. And you know why? It doesn't scare you. What's the significance of that? You won't sabotage the change. You'll let it happen. I remember this incredible story of this man who was ridiculously wealthy, one of those gargantuan multimillionaires. Now his 40th birthday comes around. And he thought to himself, what could he give himself for his 40th birthday? There was essentially nothing he needed, but he looked at himself in the mirror and he realized that he'd fallen apart at the seams. While he had acquired everything he needed, he hadn't cared for himself. So for a 40th birthday present, he decided to take up jogging. And his first experience with jogging, he could barely go 3 blocks because he was so ridiculously out of shape, and he smoked. So by 8 p.m. that night, he gave up smoking. But he figured, rather, that if he was going to keep his promise to himself, that he was going to jog, he had to quit smoking. All right, now, this all started from this very tiny choice, allegedly tiny choice, of running. Well, the next thing you know, he begins to get in shape. And as he got more and more in shape, he became more and more conscious of, guess what? His nutrition. So the next thing you know, he's becoming a health fanatic. And by the time he finished this transition, which began with just, I think I'm going to start running, he'd become a health entrepreneur and leader in the holistic health field. If someone had said to him, you know what you're going to do? You're going to leave behind this incredible corporate powerhouse you have, and why don't you just jump right into that job as a health entrepreneur and sponsoring all of these health programs? He would have laughed at you, but because it came in so softly, he never saw the huge world that was attached to this. The size, I emphasize again and again, the illusion is that what you need to do has to be big. Your biggest obstacle to change is believing that. You do something small, it is the symbolic act of changing that has the power. It's the willingness to make the change. I saw this one reporter interview an entertainer recently who had become very successful, and he said to this entertainer, how long did it take you to become an overnight success? He said 20 years.